Yes, indeed. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to this, the first of our new series, which is now, of course, called Friday Night Live. The title has changed, but very little else has changed. In fact, very little else has changed. In the world, we still have the same government. Even though we had an election, we have the same government. Mrs. Thatcher stormed Parliament for the third time. We better be careful. If she wins it again, they're going to have to let her keep it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we know that they are thinking of televising Parliament, which is a good thing, because it means we're finally going to get some decent comedians on the television. But Mrs. Thatcher... Of course, Mrs. Thatcher was against televising Parliament, which was extraordinary because the bill got through. For the first time in history, the Tory party voted against the boss. They finally had a bit of bottle. It's funny how they develop minds of their own when there's a chance of getting on telly, isn't it, eh? Now, why is Mrs. Thatcher against televising Parliament? The reason is, and it's a very sensible one, because at the moment she is getting a bill through Parliament to stop upsetting and outrageous images on the television. Well, I can understand her fear once Today in Parliament's on the box, eh? And you get adults don't watch this, watch out for the kids slapped across Edwina Curry, and there's little children having nightmares because they've been watching the debate about the National Health Service. Warning, the next programme may be considered upsetting for anybody who's considering getting ill in the next 5 years. Frank Boff, of course, has been looking into our hospitals. He has been looking into our hospitals on the BBC. Hospital Watch, an in-depth, honest look at our hospitals. Everything that goes on, except we never saw one being closed. That's very strange. There you've got old Frank Boff. In a National Health Service in a crisis, there's a nurses striking for the first time ever. You've got hospitals raising money through charity and hamburger boxes. The government are swearing blind that they're putting more money in than ever before. What's Frank Boff saying? Now then, Doris, apparently your knees are a little bit achy. Is that what's about? Never mention the closures. That's like talking about the Second World War and not mentioning the Germans. Mind you, Kurt Waldheim's been doing all right with that for a while, hasn't he? There was some very good bit of topicality, love it to death. We don't hold back on this programme. There's some very bad language on telly the other day, but it didn't matter, because it was in French. Jacques Chirac, the Prime Minister of France, was at the EEC, and he said a rude word to Mrs. Thatcher. Said something like, couillon. Couillon. Now, we have had it translated, and we can't tell you what it is, because it's rude. All we can say is they normally come in pairs. Mrs. Thatcher doesn't have any, but she's got the country by them. That's all we can say. Now, oh, that's very nice. First round of applause, and it's on a bollock gag. Sorry, couillon gag. Stop on. Oh, no, I apologise for that. Well, that's one episode of Friday Night Live and the series is gone. So, ladies and gentlemen, the international situation is very interesting at the moment. Mr. Kinnock has been in Palestine finding out how terrible it is to get shot in the back. He should be careful. The Labour Party is not a very happy and cohesive unit at the moment. He'll be putting ideas into the heads of his backbenchers. He'll get back, sit in front of me, Neil, sit in front of me. The only problem with getting elected to the front bench of the Labour Party is the rest of them are behind you. So many strange things going on. Palestine, very upsetting situation. The Israelis are trying to improve their image over there, trying to improve it. Of course, it didn't help the other day when they managed to bury alive a bunch of Palestinian rioters, you know. I mean, maybe the Israelis were trying to be nice. The Palestinians have been asking for their land back for quite a while, but they didn't quite say they wanted it on top of their heads, you know what I mean? Before anyone says that sick they were buried, they got dug out again before anybody got hurt. Now, one piece of good news, ladies and gentlemen, the government is about to start legislation to stop aerosols. Now, why are aerosols bad? Anagram for arsehole. Why are they bad? Because they break up the ozone layer and give us all skin cancer. I mean, that's good, using an aerosol. Oh, I've got whiffy armpits. I think I'll give myself skin cancer. That's good, isn't it? But people don't care because it's not coming to us yet. But over the South Pacific and in Australia, you're 4 times more likely to get it than you used to be able to. Some poor old Aussie, he's got a 6-pack of Fosters, he nods off in the noonday sun, wakes up 4 hours later covered in malignant tumours.